if you're interested at all in how I came to be employed at this sort of hospital, I might go over that in my next post. If that kind of thing doesn't really matter to you, let me go on to tell you about one of my first patients and what I really do. You see, the job is at its core just a job. I'm a male nurse at a hospital. You should pray to God every night that you will never visit. Its name is Dearth Mercy Hospital, pronounced like dearth. My job is patient care, but unlike every other hospital in the world, patient care comes second at Dearth Mercy. Self-preservation comes first. That's because we don't deal with things a regular hospital takes care of. You can't come here with a bad cough, unless, of course, it's related to inhaling dust from a cursed antique store. I've seen it. You don't just get sent here after a car accident, unless you hit a creature that wails like a siren when in pain and causes your eardrums to explode. No, the kind of patients we get are the ones babbling about how they should have followed set rules. Look, before all this, I wouldn't have cared either way, but if you've seen some of the things I've seen, Jesus, people, follow the rules. We also see some variation or subclass of a Wendigo that has killed your friends and has your scent. That one's pretty common, and a lot of people generally get sent to our psych wards because of the PTSD that comes with being a victim of horror. One guy accidentally created some kind of AI in one of his games he was developing. He felt so bad for what his game did to the AI that he tried to kill himself. One kid befriended a sort of avenging child abuse creature thing named Rasp that killed his father and a kid he went to school with. So now the kid is afraid if he's accidentally rude to anyone that Rasp will come for him. I've seen a lot of crazy. But one of my first patients was a guy that had growths inside of him, not tumors or anything like that. This was some kind of living thing inside of him that fed off of what he was eating. I wish it just ate his normal diet, but it made him crave things normal people shouldn't be craving. At the first hospital, he was medicated with who knows what and sent home when the docs there just thought he was getting fat, since nothing showed up on the ultrasound. Eventually, though, he was sent to Dearth Mercy. Someone at his regular hospital recognized that he was a victim of some kind of horror, and they acted as a liaison to get him to us. That person probably saved this man's life. The patient, named Derek. Don't worry about HIPAA or anything like that. Everything's been adjusted for privacy. Well, he came in complaining of stomach pains. Obviously, like I said, nobody gets sent to this hospital for regular stuff, so we knew it was something more. When he came in, he was clutching a half-eaten, rotting carcass of what looked like a cat. He was literally talking to us in between bites. It was a strange conversation. "Sir, is that your cat?" I asked him, thoroughly grossed out because this was my first real patient at Dearth Mercy. He lifted the cat and looked at it. This? God, no. I wouldn't eat mittens. This is, well, I don't want to say. It's disgusting. The other nurse with me, Archie, made a face. "Sir, you're eating a cat. What can be more disgusting than that?" I was kind of shocked he said that because I was taught bedside manners at my previous hospitals. But Archie had a point. "I know it's a cat," the patient exploded. "You think I don't know that? It's roadkill, okay? Cats, deer, dogs, coons. I can't stop myself from eating whatever I see on the side of the road. I'm gonna throw up." He leaned over to puke, and what came next was even worse than what he'd just told me. He threw up, but something whipped out of his throat along with the vomit. It was like a tentacle, and it literally caught the bits of cat and bile before they could hit the ground, then pulled it all back into his throat. The man made a nasty slurshing and gobbling sound as it went straight back into him. I thank God did not have any tentacles inside me, so when I reactively threw up, it all did hit the ground. I couldn't stop it. Seeing that, smelling that, I didn't stand a chance. Archie wasn't new. It didn't make him throw up, but he did step back from us, and point to the bin. Jesus, aim for the damn can next time, he ordered. Sorry, I said. I looked at the patient who was eyeing my spill on the floor. You didn't eat meat today, did you? He asked. His eyes begged me to say no. Thankfully, I hadn't. Just eggs and toast, I replied. He sighed relief, then took a bite of the cat in his hand. Archie proceeded to get the man's personal information while I cleaned up my mess. We followed the standard protocol of any hospital, minus the insurance parts, and after the basics, we asked the unique questions. Have you come into contact with any cursed items? Have you made any deals with demons, genies, witches, minor deities, or gods, etc.? Have you consumed human flesh in the last 48 hours? Have you seen anything strange or unusual outside of your current symptoms? Have you recently moved to a new townhouse where strange things occur? This one was a hit. Yes, new town. I thought it was just a weird group or something at first, but they pray to a streetlight in the mornings, he said, chewing on the meat of the cat. Archie turned to me. By now my sickness was cleaned up, and I was standing by learning. So, some towns generally have either a cult, or even the whole town. They'll have a deal with a creature or horror of some kind, and have to perform some kind of ritual. It's important to get as much info on the ritual as we can, so the lab can determine what the horror is and how to treat it. Then he handed me the clipboard. You finish this, I'll see if Dr. Mathos is available. Then he exited the room, calmly and casually, as if he saw things like this all the time. I know now that's exactly the case. I turned to Derek and offered a friendly, reassuring smile. Okay, can you tell me what time they pray to the light? I asked. 3:45 in the morning. Every morning. First time I saw it, I just woke up about 3:30. Couldn't go back to sleep. Then I heard them outside. Okay, and do you normally wake up randomly? No. I take medication to help me sleep. But ever since I moved there, I wake up at 3:30 every morning. I watch them from my living room. Men, women, kids. They all go to a certain street light and pray to it. Okay. And does anything happen while they pray to it? Or can you hear what they're saying? I asked, reading off the questions on the form. He shook his head and pulled bloody fur from his mouth. He gagged, then took another bite of the mostly eaten cat. The light flickers, then they all go back home. Are they doing this to me? Because I'm not praying with them? He asked nervously. I don't know. I'm sort of new here, the doctor should be able to tell you. Right then, by chance, the doctor stepped in, with Archie behind him. He greeted us both, then took the clipboard from my hand. He read it silently, then handed it back. You mind lying back for me, Derek? He asked. The patient nodded, then sat back. The doctor began to touch the man's stomach carefully. Each time he pressed down, a bulge would appear and slither away as if a snake was underneath his skin. When did you first experience the eating of roadkill? Dr. Matos asked. Derek took a deep breath. The weight of his stomach seemed to hinder his breathing in that position. 2 days ago, before that, I was hungry for everything else. I cleaned out my kitchen. I've put on 15 pounds in 6 days. I went to the hospital, but they said I had some kind of eating disorder. No shit. The doctor helped him sit back up, then took his own seat on a stool nearby. Well, they do the best they can. From what you've told us, and from what I can feel, you have a necro growth inside of you. Your town wakes you up at 3:30 every morning, so that you can join the others at the streetlight and pray to it. Since you haven't been doing that, the deity or creature residing over the town has given you a craving for dead meat. Unchecked, it will consume rotting flesh, roadkill, until it suffocates your airways, then eats you from the inside out. What? That's crazy, Derek said in shock. Yeah, says the man currently eating roadkill, the doc said. My eyebrows jumped up in surprise as Derek glanced at the matted, stinking carcass in his hand. Can I move out of the town?" the patient asked. "You could, but you'd still wake up at 3:30, and if you move, you will have less time to get to the street light. We can do two things: an internal ripping of the necro growth through surgery, risky but quick. Or we can send you home, and if you start praying to the streetlight with everyone else, the growth will die of starvation once the hunger goes away, and you'll pass it naturally." Derek looked at the doc, stunned. He looked at the roadkill in his hand. "Internal ripping? How risky are we talking? If the growth has wrapped around your heart, the surgery has an 80% chance of killing you. If not, it's a 70% chance of killing you. And if I go back and pray to the streetlight, it goes away? Then I can move out of that town?" he asked. The doc smiled at him. "We can hope, but I can't guarantee it won't come back if you stop or move away." The patient tearfully pulled another cut of meat from the carcass with his teeth. "Why is this happening?" he asked, his tone a bit defeated. The doctor stood up and placed a hand on his shoulder, as doctors do. "Things like this have been around long before us. We just developed around them for the most part. Different towns have different secrets. In my opinion, go home, pray to the damn streetlight, get better. We will have counselors follow up with you." The patient nodded as he chewed. The doctor left the room. That was my first patient. That was after orientation, and after I'd been told what to expect. But how can anyone prepare for that? How can anyone brace themselves for learning about places like that and people affected by them? Archie had me do the discharge paperwork, and a black ambulance took Derek away. It was the last time I saw him, and I still don't know if the growth killed him, or if every morning he prays to the streetlight in his town, along with everyone else. I saw a lot of strange things during my first week at Dearth Mercy. Each one is more bizarre than the last in its own way. Before I go, I'll tell you about one more patient. This one had a doll's face. She literally took a doll's face off and sewed it onto her own. It was hard to hear her through the material, and the face was so tightly sewn to her own skin that whenever she talked, the movement of her jaw pulled on the stitches, causing them to bleed. I thought it was some form of insanity. Almost thought, why was she here at this hospital? People have done crazier things than that. Until the doll's face began to answer my questions in its own soft girlish voice. The lips moved, and the eyes looked at me. "You're cute. He's cute, isn't he?" the doll asked while looking at me. "Please leave me alone," the girl underneath whispered. "I know you think he's cute. Will he play with us? I bet he wants to," the doll said. At this, the girl, as if on strings like a puppet, reached forward and touched my chest. I stepped backward, and the girl turned away, embarrassed. "I'm sorry, that wasn't me," she whimpered. "He knows it wasn't you, you dumb woman. Turn back around so he can see me." Then the voice became sing-songy. "Turn to him or I'll hurt you again." And she turned to me, the doll's face smiling sickly, and a mixture of blood and tears streaming from underneath. "Ugh, you're such a bore. No wonder you think so little of yourself," the doll face said to the girl. I was relieved when the doctor came in with silver scissors. We held the patient down and proceeded to cut the stitches from her face, all while the mask screamed for us to stop. When the last stitch was severed, the doll's face fell silent and lifeless. The girl underneath was beautiful, but the way she hid her face made it obvious that she didn't think that way. When I asked the doctor how a doll's face could have latched onto her like that, he told me something more frightening than I expected. The doll's face wasn't the problem. It was how she saw herself. She made this happen. She put on the mask and gave it life. We see it often. Sometimes it's a doll's face, and sometimes it's another human's face, People aren't happy with how they look. It's not always an item or place that's the problem. Anyways, that's some of the stuff I experienced just in my first week at Dearth Mercy Hospital. I hope I never see any of you there, but from what I've been seeing online and whatnot, a few of you might end up here, one way or the other.